WBUR Podcast, Boston.
This is Up Next. I'm Tiziana Deering. A man from Concord just set the speed climbing record for Mount Everest. 36-year-old Tyler Andrews recently climbed to the top alone with oxygen in 9 hours and 55 minutes. He beat the old record by an hour, and he joins us now to talk about what it took. Tyler, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here and talk about it.
6 years, 7 attempts. Take me to the top of the mountain, Tyler. I want to know the first thing you did when you finally got up there.
Well, the first thing I did was actually use my radio and call down to base camp. Luckily, I had my wonderful partner down there along with our team of incredibly supportive people. This very much is a team project as much as I was the one, running up the mountain. There's a lot of people that make it possible when you're doing something like this.
So you get to the top, you make the necessary call down to base camp. And I imagine, right, you're kind of wanting to take a break, but since you're going against time, you got to record the time. When you had a moment to breathe, what did you do?
I tried to just enjoy it, honestly, because it's very possible that's the only time in my life that I'm going to be up there. So I wanted to make sure that I was taking a second for myself and my family and my supporters to kind of just look around. We got there right before sunrise. And so literally the sun was just poking up over the horizon as we were on the summit. And it was just completely unbelievable, the view that we had and how special that was.
I want to track way back in your life to a moment then that gets you to that gorgeous moment now. And it's when you start running cross country at Concord Academy. Tell me about that experience and how we trace it to the top of Mount Everest in a record-breaking time.
I mean, I joke about it, but it's true, which is that the motivation that I learned as a 17-year-old cross-country runner is exactly the same motivation that was trying to run to the top of Everest, almost 20 years later. My coach, John Waldron, who was the coach at Concord Academy at the time, really connected with me as a teenager. I was not an athletic kid. This was not something that I thought of myself as a sporting person or anything like that. And he really instilled in me this idea of self-improvement. And to me, at least, was the most powerful thing that I'd ever learned from an adult at the time. And so that really was the same motivation that got me through, that first cross country season, but then through a collegiate career at Tufts University and eventually to the top of Everest. It was always for me about trying to find my own personal limits, trying to find ways that I could work harder, work smarter, and then see those improvements pay off.
Did you stay in touch with Coach Waldron?
Yes, we're still very close. He coached me as a professional runner back in my 20s and early 30s. And then once I started kind of dabbling into the big mountain stuff, it was a little bit outside of his purview as a track and field coach. But he's still kind of the guy that I call when I need life advice or even training advice.
You climbed alone, including through an area that's called the death zone. Take me to the single toughest moment of this record-breaking climb for you.
I think the toughest part was actually, yes, climbing through the death zone in the night. It's the very, very early morning, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black and I'm by myself. And this is the point where things have gone wrong in the past. And eventually I was able to get up to the South Summit right around first light. The circadian rhythms are starting to kick in. The mountains are popping out. The sun's about to come up. It's getting a little bit warmer. And so that was really the most special moment. But those pre-dawn hours were tremendously hard.
So I want to tell you the thing that haunted me in reading your story, Tyler, which is 7 tries. Just this year, you got partway several times, but something like a zipper gets stuck or the snow is too deep. A lot of people would decide somewhere around try 4 or 5 that nature is trying to tell them something. It's more than tenacity. It is a single-mindedness. How did you make yourself go up there times 5, 6, 7?
I think it's just stubbornness at the end of the day. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. When I get excited about a project or a goal, it's really hard for me to let go of that. And so Everest was a tricky one because there's so much that's outside of your control beyond just being, fit and ready to go and experienced and all those things. And I almost let it go after that very first season, but I'm very glad I stuck with it. And yeah, I think it's just my personality that I just can't let go of a project for better or worse.
There's this other dark side to climbing Everest, controversies around doing so. National Geographic says it's so overcrowded and full of trash that it's been called the world's highest garbage dump. People die, at least 5 this season. 3 were guides. Were you mindful of those things, and what did you do to mitigate both your impact on the mountain and any risk to other people who were supporting you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think my number one goal, obviously, is to get up and down the mountain safely. And that goes for me and for every single person on my team and with whom I interact. Yes, this is sport and it's about excellence and perfection, but at the end of the day, it's not worth me putting anyone else in harm's way to do that. That said, I think Everest has a reputation of being really crowded, like you mentioned, having some problems with trash. I think those things are improving a lot over the last couple of years with some help from the Nepali government and the expedition organizers. But that said, yes, it is a crowded mountain and it just makes it complicated because at the end of the day, we just have to be really patient. I don't have any more of a right to be there than anyone else on the mountain. And so what that meant was literally waiting until the last day of the season so that I could go up and down the mountain safely when there wasn't anyone else there that, I might potentially impact.
So, Tyler, we have established at this point that you are a very driven human being. Is there any personal goal, Everest-like goal, that you haven't yet achieved?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, yes. There's a lot on my list. And honestly, I thought that, we'd be finished with this project a year ago. And so even that, the opportunity cost of waiting a year has felt like quite a bit. But there's so much that I'd like to do. Yeah, I've got a lot on my list right now.
You got to
I'm
name
focusing
one.
mostly.
You got to give me one from your list.
Name one?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, I would love to go back to Nepal, and there's something called the Great Himalayan Trail, which runs, it's, kind of like the Appalachian Trail, but it runs across the entire Himalayan range, about 1,000 miles. And no one has ever run that in a single push. It would probably take about a month or so. So that's a very different project, but something else that I've been kind of daydreaming about for the last year, let's say.
Professional ultra runner, speed climber, and now the fastest man to climb Mount Everest with oxygen, Tyler Andrews. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.